as we come back in, hello ladies and gentlemen, we are live for week 8 of the LPL in the RNG arena. We are going to be going to them very first. You can see Let Me, MLXG and Zatai sitting on the wall of fame. As we come into week 8, I am a new voice. We have a new person on the desk today as we come into week 8. I'm delighted to be joining the team here in the LPL as RNG arrive. And it's going to be very interesting to see exactly how they go. They're on a good run. They've got some difficult games to come, but today is just another step towards playoffs. Got some pretty decent, results as of late. Everyone playing very, very well. You can see them all practicing, making sure they're all going, hi, how are you doing, too? Get a nice little hello from everybody. But again, something, what we're going to be expecting from RNG and Victory 5 is going to be absolutely interesting to say the least. But, ladies and gentlemen, I am Usheen BP Malloy, and I am joined by Clement Chu.
Okay, I'll come up with another with a stage name sooner or later, but welcome BP to the LPL. It's great to have you here. It's great to have a new voice, and one from quote-unquote one of the best regions, as you might say.
There's no need for quotes. There's no need for quotes. I'm a European. We won MSI. We're feeling pretty great. You guys lost to NA. But I suppose we lost to NA now, I suppose. But
I am not amused, but I will let it slide for now.
That's a double whammy for you, for LMS and LPL. But
we don't talk about my past.
We don't talk about that anymore. But, ladies and gentlemen, we had a fantastic week last week, and have a quick look at the standing and see where it all came down to. Because at the moment, one big thing that points out to me is Fun plus Phoenix dropped a set.
Undefeated no more, and they were taken down by Invictus Gaming. Ming finally had a great performance, and the Shy was an absolute monster. So once again, Fun plus Phoenix stopped their streak at 8.
Yeah, and another big thing as well, JD Gaming losing yesterday to Dominus Esports as well, putting a massive dent in their playoff hopes as we come into week 8. But that's all in the past. Let's bring it back to the present as we have a look at the schedule for today. As I'm going to say, we're going to be having RNG probably up against Victory 5. I hope that's the one I looked at today. Yes, it is. Victory 5 versus RNG as our first match of the day. And then it's going to be TES versus Sunning Gaming. And honestly, both of these matches could honestly go either way. I would favor RNG in the first one, but definitely Victory have looked good.
For sure, for sure. RNG versus V5 is going to be very intense. RNG controlled a priority in lane style, while V5 are just crazy skirmishes across the map. And TES versus Sunning Gaming, we're going to have both teams come in with actually very new rosters. They've only been playing with Aki and been playing with Angel on the other hand for 1 or 2 series each. So this is going to be super exciting to see how they pan out.
We'll have to wait and see, and we're going to have a look as well. We also have, of course, our weekly MVPs and a lot of star performances from last week as well. Hard to pick just 5 people, but actually we're going to look at the MVP of week 7. It is going to be the Shy, and honestly, yesterday's game was enough for me. Like the Vladimir yesterday was just insane, and I really, really think that he's finally coming back to the Shy levels of renown that we remember from last year.
You saw game 1 and you thought FBX were going to take this easy, but the Shy said no to it and carried the last 2 team fights on the Vladimir, 1v3, 1v4, getting into the backline, making sure LWX could never get a good look onto the rest of his teammates. And we've got to say, the Shy is back. It's no longer the I can die a couple times in lane. Top lane doesn't matter, the Shy. This is the I'm going to carry my team all the way to semifinals, the Shy.
And that's what makes IG coming into playoffs so scary. As I have a quick look at the best of the Rift. You have, of course, the Shy, Aki, like you talked about there in the Pruitt, Knight in there at mid lane, Uzi at AD carry and missing on support. And if you had that as your team, you'd be pretty damn happy.
Oh, I'd be exhilarated
that's like
to have that as my team.
If we had like LPL fantasy, that would be the perfect fantasy team like last week.
Oh, of course. Look at that damage here from Uzi. He definitely was one of the highlight players for me last week against EDG, our match of the week, classical matchup. Completely outperformed iBoy and was the centerpiece for his team in those team fights. Finally, we're seeing RNG reach those same heights that we expect of them in 2018.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we say RNG as well, can't mention RNG, of course, without mentioning a slightly bittersweet moment of MLXG. MLXG, unfortunately, is leaving the LPL, or at least leaving RNG's retiring. It's sad. It's bittersweet. We have so many great memories from this guy.
Yeah, we're going to remember him for a long time. And just taking a look at his career, he's had a very good career for those 5 years. He started on King, move over to Royal, never give up. 61.8% win rate. He was known as the Honey Badger in the Chinese community.
Relentless.
Yes. It didn't matter if he was behind or not. He would always look for the engage. He would always look for the invade. He was very unpredictable, and I think his best champion showcases that as well. He had over a 66% 50% win rate on the Gragas. Probably one of the best champions to just fly out of nowhere. And his final words that day on stage were, this is time to let it go. MLXG has completed his final gank on stage. This is farewell. So best of luck to MLXG. We hope you have a great hot pot shop, as he has announced that he will be trying in that direction for the future of his career.
Well.
Very fitting for his name, as he was known as a spicy hot pot.
Damn right. Well, fully stacked here, fully stacked, unfortunately. But we have to leave that in the past, and now we move on to the present and looking at RNG versus Victory 5. And honestly, right now, this is my first weekend. It's my first day on broadcast. The first thing I'm looking at is that bot lane. You got Y4, you got Uzi.
Both of them used to be RNG bot laners, but this time around we have to focus on the differences that both have and what they're going to try and accomplish for their teams. Uzi, always a sole focus. Look at that gold share, incredibly high, second highest out of any of the AD carries. Damage share very high up there as well, close to the 30% mark. And you can see the amount of resources that they throw towards his way. Plus 51 CS by the end of the games. He's been on a hot streak in the recent 2 weeks. While Y4, very unorthodox. He's more of the utility AD carry. He's there to help his team get into those skirmishes. And we've been seeing a lot of engage options from the Varus, the Ashe, and the Orianna, the Pyke as well, the Sonas too. So he's going to be going for the cheese builds, while Uzi, you should expect the standard hyper carries.
But that's what I was going to say. They're kind of almost like the two different sides of the same ADC coin. Standard, a marksman, whatever I can get my hands onto. It's literally
crazy.
It's super crazy. You cannot judge, what's going to happen from this. But that's also kind of reflected on how Victory 5 have kind of come into this league. Is they have some of the highest kills per game, but they also have some of the highest deaths.
They are
super
hectic. They are out of control in these games, and that's what we expect out of the ban picks as well. We really want to see these champions where they can push the tempo, and I think Kiana is going to be a big one for both Windy and possibly Mold to pick up.
And we are going to have to see the teams coming out onto stage. Victory 5 first. They're a little bit confused. Go over this way. Coach just wanted to be on the right-hand side, but ended up being coming over there. So we're going to see Victory 5 on stage. And it's a big task for them. They have got playoff hopes. They have got dreams of reaching that top 8, but they have to start the ball rolling. We're kind of on the the war path, if you like, towards playoffs. It's when these are the matches that really start to matter.
Yeah, V5 are a team that has proven themselves against the non-playoff teams. They really started to turn heads after their victory against Invictus Gaming, but since then they really haven't taken down another big name playoff team. So this is going to be their chance to prove their own salt.
Yeah, and RNG as well. They've looked well, but they haven't really had the most difficult of schedules as of late. So definitely something for them to prove. They're kind of say, look, we're still RNG. The pedigree is still there. We still have Uzi and Xiaohu. This is the kind of team that they need to be able to take down constantly. 2-0 or nothing else, realistically.
Yeah, and that's why the match against EDG was so important, because it was one of their few actually playoff tier matches so far, and that's why despite the record, there are still a lot of doubts coming into RNG, particularly about how are you using that top laner in Longxing, because currently Longxing is only dealing 18% of the team's damage. He's essentially being fitted into the RNG system, and if the bot lane fails, we haven't been able to see RNG actually get a good recovery. So there are lingering questions there, but they're also on track to have the highest win rate splits of the entire RNG history.
Yeah, and I think it's it's obviously part of the lineage of the RNG history, like you just said, but again, you kind of have to get it. That's the difference. You have to make the results happen. Otherwise, there's no point about talking about it. But something I did want to bring up as well is kind of this little mini meta that China has kind of created for itself, courtesy of Victory 5, is that you're no longer a mid laner or a top laner. You're a solo laner, and you must be able to flex whichever way you want to go.
It's so important these days for teams to really grasp this idea, because it gives you so many benefits. First of all, each player, they can really specialize in a single champion and bring them into 2 lanes. That means that you can spend a lot less time getting those scrims down and getting those Korean Challenger solo queue games down just to expand your champion pool. They can focus on 6 instead of 12 champions, but the overall team, you get a bigger champion pool at the same time. So that's actually really amazing about it. And V5 really started the trend. They had Ale start earlier in the split, but then they had Windy and Molt being flexed between the top lane and the mid lane. And I think that unpredictability in champion pool and the fact that they can just counter champions out of the blue has boosted their standings. We predicted them as a 15th place team in the LPL, but now they're currently sitting around the 10th place team. So making a huge leap, and other teams are following suit. RNG has done it, EDG has done it, and also Suning now with Angel and Maple have done the same thing as well. So this is a great trend that I'm seeing, and I think it's going to be very competitive. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Xiaohu in the top lane today.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I wanted to talk about as well, it's just kind of like Xiaohu in particular has really stepped up for RNG. Like, he really has. It used to be like, you know, from someone ignorant of like everything else within the LPL, it was just RNG and Uzi. And it's kind of like taken away, the spotlight's kind of moved slightly more mid lane. Xiaohu really coming into his own and showing that he deserves more recognition for what he does.
I think Xiaohu has been winning the lanes a lot harder this split. If you look at his previous splits when RNG were at its lowest, he was basically, okay, I'm going to pick a Scion, or I'm going to pick an Urgot, and that's it. I'm going to get priority, but I'm not going to dominate the lane. This split, he's been doing 27% of the team's damage, and if you look at the champion pools, a lot more Syndra, a lot more Jace, a lot more aggressive things to punish you in lane, and I think it's giving great results to RNG. Gunner Xiaohu is very different from no Gunner Xiaohu, okay? Those glasses mean something.
Yeah, they have to. The Gunners are helping him. Like, you know, hashtag no sponsor.
Please.
Yeah. But, and again, like, you know, RNG, they're coming into their schedule. They play, I think it's like 4 out of the top 8 in the next, you know, 6 or 7 games, or series,
Very
excuse
difficult.
me. It's a very, very difficult series. But if you're going to bet on someone to do it, you're going to bet on these guys, as we're going to be able to jump into picks and bans very, very shortly. And I want to know what's going to come out from these guys. I want to know what's going to, you know, be the big, big difference for these two teams.
Well, I think the main difference is how they approach the early game. V5 a lot of times are looking for picks. Initiation is extremely important, while RNG for their end, they're a lot more about lane priority. We've been seeing a lot more of the Sivers and just stuff that can push out the mid lane at the same time as well. They like to chip down your turrets, while V5, like we were talking about, lots of kills, lots of death, crazy skirmish style. Qiyana is one of the big picks here, and I really want to see it coming from either Windy or Mole.
We'll have to wait and see. All picks, or all bans I should say, locked out. And actually Irelia, one of the most banned champions against RNG this split, gets locked in straight away.
Yeah, this is a great champion for Longxing. Longxing is very much in the mold of his 4-1 split pushing style. He plays a lot of bruisers. Even though he doesn't deal that much damage, a lot of times it's because he's giving up his lane, making sure he isn't ganked in the top spot, but it's still great to see him on something aggressive. And there comes a Qiyana. This is the AD assassin I wanted to see from Windy. Windy already plays the Yasuo and the Zed. Qiyana fits perfectly up his alley.
Yep, the AD assassin going to be locked in. Qiyana, also, we kind of see mixed success for her throughout all the different regions, but definitely something that everyone agrees is very, very, very strong. And actually, we're going to see Gragas, MLXG's most famous pick, locked in for the side of V5.
You got to pay some homage when you're in Beijing. So I love that Gragas pick. Also a great takeaway from Karsa, since he's been doing so well in the pick himself. And this is a really good 1-2 combo. We were talking about V5's identity, snowballing. So if they have mid jungle like that, this mid pick has to be incredibly safe for Xiaohu to survive.
And you can see as well, RNG going with the kind of the standards, if you like to call them that. The Sejuani, the Ezreal, setting up for, like you said, a bit more of a lane priority, kind of like, you know, get to those 2-item spikes, look to try and just kind of push out from those sides, and then maybe get Xiaohu or Lanx onto those side lanes.
It does seem like RNG's bot lane are taking a step back. It's actually quite rare to see RNG take a backseat in terms of lane priority or dueling. Uzi was the guy that, one of the few guys that just brought the Vayne up and said, I'm going to challenge the Karsa. So that shows you how much they really prioritize winning the lane outright just with the AD carry matchup. But this time, it seems, in the face of Gragas, in the face of Qiyana, they're actually playing it safer. So unexpected for me on my side. And Y4, he was the Draven player. He was a Kalista player when he was back in RNG. He's back to his old ways, trying to outright win the lane.
Yeah, you've got almost kind of like super security with the Ezreal for RNG versus I'm coming to get you on the side of Victory 5. But actually going to see, I think it's a miss ban there from the side of Victory 5. They do miss out on one ban, and that's going to be Nautilus as well, banned by RNG. So I don't know if they ran out of time or if that's purposely done. I feel like any ban is better than no ban.
It's always you run out of time, and we've actually heard in the mic checks before release from EDG that sometimes the players just accidentally click on the wrong tabs, can't find their champions. It does happen quite often. I'm not terribly surprised by that. Should not be a visual bug. We don't have anything global banned either. And Volley Bear, what?
So this is something interesting as well. If you watch LCK as well, we've seen Volibear support thrown in every now and again as kind of a run at people. You run it with Predator and I believe the Righteous Glory as well. And it's basically just kind of a run you down kind of thing. Because Kalista, without her flash, doesn't have any innate escapes. So I kind of understand where it's coming from. But definitely a bit of a left field kind of ban coming out.
Yeah, this speaks of, I don't think you ban Volibear until you have very concrete scouting on the enemy support. It's like, yes, this guy is a Volibear cheeser. We have to take this champion away from him. Because Volibear has very set in stone play patterns where he's just trying to go all in level 2 and try to do something in the lane. So I'm actually surprised about this from V5, but it does show you how much they want to keep Uzi down, how much they want to have a superior matchup in that bottom side.
Yeah, well, if you're looking for a champion to throw into the fray with a Fate's Call, Alistar is definitely up there as someone who can really, really utilize that ultimate and locked in there for V5.
So we are expecting some more defensive champions coming in from RNG, but maybe not. I'm going to go with the Galio too. This is another champion that does tend to try and just outright win the lane with that gank pressure, with that crowd control. So RNG, I would expect it something like the Karma or the... Okay, never mind. They're all banned away. So all the defensive options are banned away. Everything defensive is banned away.
Go ham or go home right now for V5 as they have to go towards it. The Galio is going to be in the support lane. It's going to be Mordekaiser Irelia swap between those two lanes for RNG. Like we said, it's very important to be a solo laner, not just a mid or top laner. And Aatrox locked in for Victory 5. So we have our team comps, and I'm looking at super, super tanky RNG versus we're going to blow you up from V5.
Wow, this is interesting. So we're actually going to see the Aatrox go in towards the mid lane. Now, Aatrox mid against the Irelia early levels, you actually do have an advantage. You just outrange her in the CS duel, so you're able to punish her quite a bit. But I was thinking about the Kiana potential. Oh, never mind. It's V5. Sorry. Yeah, Kiana is still going to go mid. I'm sorry. Mole is still going to take Kiana mid.
You're stuck in your old ways.
Yes.
It's no longer top lane. It's a flex.
It's solo lanes. It's solo lanes. Kiana, she can play top lane. We have seen her actually go top, and it works in much the same way about the snowball potential. But I don't think she works against Mordekaiser that well. That's the matchup that I would be a little bit hesitant to put her up against. I don't think she wins that 1v1 straight out, and that's kind of the requirement if you're going against Mordekaiser. So most likely still going to be the Kiana mid. Aatrox is going to be going towards the top side.
And we'll have to see exactly what way they want to play it for Victory 5. RNG, though, you'd be hard-pressed to bet against them right now. Having seen both comps yourself, having looked at the two of them and knowing their current forms, what's your prediction right now? Are you expecting an RNG 20-minute stomp, or are you thinking V5 can really drag this out?
I think we're going to see one of the rare games where more attention is going to be thrown topside than bot side from RNG. This is a transition that I wanted to see ever since Longxing arrived on the roster, but never really got the chance. This time they have a Mordekaiser top lane that they have to protect against the likes of the, most likely the Aatrox and the Gragas, a very gank-heavy lane. So they have to make sure Longxing survives that one. And then we're going to see a more defensive side coming in from Uzi versus the Kalista.
We'll have to wait and see as we jump onto the Rift for Game 1 of our first series of Week 8 here in the LPL. All the arcade decorations. It's so pretty now. It's so, so pretty. I love it so much, but I wish it would never go. I love that pixel poro so damn much, but we'll have to wait and see. RNG versus Victory 5, Game 1. I was expecting a crowd noise.
Yes, I was too.
Day 1, I'm baited.
We're definitely waiting for it. It looks like Kiana will still be heading towards the mid lane, but just as I say this, the solo laners actually swap.
I think right now, you can see it with RNG, they want to put the Kiana into the Mordekaiser. Like you said there in the pregame, Kiana not necessarily going to have the best of times versus this Mordekaiser right now. So they want to get that matchup, get the Mordekaiser, that's 1-2 item spike where he's able to just pick the Kalista and blow her up. So you have a quick look at the ruins. Actually, Predator Gragas coming in now as a kind of a standard nowadays. You know, used to see the Aftershock, but pretty standard apart from that overall across the board.
Yep. Taking a look at most of the runes, standard stuff. Only the Kalista bringing the Hella Blade, so just more laning power as we expect from the draft from V5. It does look like they're going to go heavy skirmishing. and just try to win out on the early and mid game.
And what's the win condition right now for V5? We've talked a lot about RNG. They're the easy topic as such because we've seen them for so many years. We know them for so long. What's their win condition on the side of Victory 5? What they need to do to come out of here with a win? Excuse me.
I think if you have the Qiyana, you always want to try and snowball that lane, especially against the Mordekaiser that a lot of times will auto-push the lane. It is a good idea to just try to make sure that Longxin can't get to a fed point, can't really try and duel anyone with the Death's Realm. So snowballing that point for me is going to be the main idea behind this composition. And then you just want to look for skirmishes. They can do so very easily with the face call all across the map. And just make sure that RNG never get a outscale type of win with the Ezreal. So I think it fits right up V5's alley. This is exactly what we've seen. But a lot of it does ride on Ben 4 and how much he can actually get out of the early Predator ganks.
Pretty standard overall. Ezreal Galio not going to have the best of times against the Kalista Alistar. And Dematerializer as well going to be for the Alistar, so that for Max going to be able to push that in. They're basically just saying we want priority over this first Mountain Dragon when it spawns.
I'm actually quite surprised by, how well the top lane has been doing for Xiaohu. Now, he is a mid laner by birth, but he has been killing it in terms of the first level 1 trade. He got his Conqueror, pressed the attack early, probably did surprise Windy just a bit, and has a massive CS lead. And if you look at the wave's actually pushing back towards him, so this CS lead is even bigger than the wave would make you assume. So he actually still has an extra 4 minions there.
Here we go, Ben 4 going to come into this mid lane, flash, body slam, ignite, barrel, first blood, Victory 5.
And that's the win condition we were talking about. Not often do you see Mordekaiser going mid lane. Ooh, can Windy dodge this?
You said this, the Sejuani will be focusing on that top side. Windy going to get stunned up there pretty heavily. No real place for him to go. Going to try to get to the wall. Flashes over. Nicely done. And he survives to fight another day.
Wow, that's a wall that you see pro players fail constantly at. But Windy's got that on lockdown. And B5 up to a good start here. However, Ben 4 is standing on a ward. I want to see how much
he'll know in about
he
2 seconds once it dies. Yep, now he knows. Yeah, he's just going to do a little dance now and get himself back to lane. But overall, V5, pretty decent start to the game. Ben 4 focusing in on that mid lane, wants to get Qiyana rolling, make sure that Mordekaiser does not get that super strong save. But it's just good combos.
Yeah, and this is good timing for Ben 4 as well. You rarely see these level 4 ganks come out from Gragas. Most of the time, the pathing is you just clear your top side, then you go for your Predators. So Longxin was probably a little bit caught off, thought he still had a bit more time on the actual gank happening. But from that angle, didn't really see it. And Qiyana is a champion that is so easy to gank for. You get that, you get the river element, and you get the stun onto your Q, the Blade of Ixtal. So very easy follow-up, EQ into the stun, nothing that Longxin could do, and he even saves his flash for it.
Just felt so bad for Windy there as he just saw this giant wave crash into the side of Xiaohu, and he's like, oh, I can't do anything. I need to just leave this, but Mo needs to be a bit careful. Not going to be able to get too much work done here from the Mordekaiser, but still getting pressure, still getting presence. And Karsa, he's going to try and sneak himself around in, but I do believe he was spotted on that ward.
Yep, definitely was. You can see the pings going down for V5. Now, what V5 have to do outside of just ganking Longxin repeatedly, they do need to throw top lane a bone at some point. This CS lead is getting a little ridiculous.
A little bit, as we see the Gragas. Ben 4 just hovering mid lane, does not want his mid laner to get, or his solo Qiyana mid lane to get taken down. Flawless duet gonna miss. I agree with you, Windy. He's just straight up not having a good time.
And we have seen this from V5 at points. It's just whoever they send top laner, since both of their solo laners are technically labeled as mid laners, whoever they send top laner, they do seem a little bit unfamiliar with the lane at times, and they do
feel a little
heavily.
bit alien. It's like,
yes.
It's like when you get auto-filled and you're like a bot laner or something like that, and it's like top, and it's like, what do I do? I haven't got a second person here to help me.
So that could be a drawback of running the pure solo lane strategy, but very well done by RNG's side. They had an early shove by Xiaohu, followed up by an early gank into a freeze, and there's no way that Windy can actually leave the lane at this point. Full river control coming down from RNG, so they can play very safely, just have their mid laner just shift towards the bottom side of the map, and as long as they have that side warded up, which you can see Karsa already has right now, then they're actually relatively safe with this Mordekaiser in lane.
And Victory 5, a little bit slower pace than what we're used to seeing from them. They, normally have these crazy, crazy high kill games on both the deaths and the kills. And right now, they're kind of just slowly taking their time, getting small little bits of CS. Like they have usually 15.1 kills per game, and also equal to that, they usually get 15.7 deaths a game. And Xiaohu just jumping around, does drop the ultimate, see if he can do anything from this. World Ender has been popped. It looks like Windy's in a lot of trouble, though. Isn't able to heal up anything. Flash from Xiaohu, but good response from Victory 5, losing topside. They gain themselves a Mountain Drake eventually after it resets.
Really great play by Xiaohu. Dodges out on multiple parts of the queue, and that was just a situation where Windy did not realize that he was going to die. Like, he didn't have the damage calculations down, was in the middle of the lane when that trade really happened. So, that lane difference, the length of the lane, changing from mid to top, probably threw him off his calculations there, and Xiaohu taking a very good punish.
Xiaohu already starting to really make this top lane just not a good time for anybody on the side of Victory 5 as I have a look now. And he just, literally, as you said, he just dances around using the minions. Yeah,
that was 2 parts of the queue dodged out by Windy, and Windy looked for the initiation himself. He was level 7. He thought he had the lead in this one. That was not the case. Xiaohu had an extra flash and a great start to the fight. Gets the full stacks of Ionian Fervor, and with Press the Attack, that's 12% extra damage that he's doing every single hit. So really well done by Xiaohu there. Just completely outplays Windy.
Windy needs to be very careful. 1 death you can forgive. 2, and you're in a lot of trouble. There's the Arctic Assault into the Flawless Duet, and that is going to be Xiaohu with a 2-0 kill lead. And they've got pure priority on this top side.
I think I know the blueprint for RNG. We will snowball Xiaohu, but never Longxing. So we'll just put him into the lane where
it's not that we can't go top. It's that we decide not to go top.
So this is a very interesting strategy, but it's pulling so much pressure top now. And I don't think that the gank mid lane actually affected the lane situation enough for it to snowball. You can see Longxing is still having a great time pushing this wave, and Qiyana's actually one of her main weaknesses that she's quite easy to punish when she's picking up CS. That Q comes up every 7 seconds, and it does cost you a bit of mana early on as well. So Mo hasn't really found any time to roam with his early kill lead, and RNG has been doing a great job at warding up these river spots.
Yeah, as we talked about throughout the entire kind of early game as such, just been constant river control. As V5 now, we're going to see Max just rolling up, see if he can find something. It's going to be very, very difficult, especially when you have that death round from the Mordekaisers. Gragas is here. Karsa going to get jumped on, get knocked back. There's the ultimate as well. Explosive Cast. Use Galio ultimate used in return, as well as Karsa's flash. Good initiative from the side of Victory 5, punishing a little bit of a greediness for the ward there.
It was a good play by V5. They're proactively swapping just so that their top lane can get some breathing room. It's no longer working for Windy in the top side, so they're swapping for him, and they're going to try and pick up Herald and possibly a kill in the meantime. However, RNG definitely spots it.
That's the Ezreal coming in, so Uzi's here. There's a flash. Goes to use a Fake Call as well, but the Glacial Prison has been used. Now they jump onto the Mordekaiser, who has to use the Death Realm. He's on so little health, but he's got that shield to keep him alive. It's going to be the Alistar to drop first, so it's a 1-for-1 trade. It's going to be a 2-for-1 trade in favor of RNG. Xiaohu picking up those kills, and that's going to be a 1 fight for RNG. Great decisiveness from the side of RNG.
And that was such a cool interaction coming in from the Sejuani. He actually, Karsa actually stuns him with the Glacial Prison, and he gets knocked back. The Q doesn't even come out from the Alistar.
Uh-oh. It's not over. TP is coming in. That's going to be Windy off on the backside of this. They know there's a little bit of vision on him. Now they know what it is. They do not want to lift up this Rift Herald for a little bit longer. There's the ultimates from both Xiaohu and Windy as they try to just jump onto the backside, but Ming gets a great stopwatch on here, and Xiaohu is just cutting through this backline. Windy has nowhere to go, and it's all gone terribly wrong for V5. RNG gifted 2 more kills.
very V5 style, re-engage, but Irelia's just too big at the moment. Goes straight onto Y4 who expended his flash earlier on. Oh, but bye-bye, Longxing.
He flew too close to the sun. That's all.
Yeah, just a little bit, Could have waited a while to pick up that wave, but good return kill from V5. Still huge win coming in from RNG, though. Really good split on that fight. 3-man stayed in the back, made sure that Aatrox didn't get the takedown, and then they get the back line of V5. So across the board, you see good CS leads forming up, and that's a 5-0 Irelia. Oh my god,
Soon to be
does not want to see
6-0 Irelia. There are TPs all over the map right now. Is Y4, he's just trying his best, and whoa, swing and a miss, but it was only used to zone out as Xiaohu picks up his 6th kill of the game. And Xiaohu, we talked about this. He's really stepping up for RNG recently. And let's have a look at this Rift Herald fight, because it looks like it could be okay.
Yeah, really interesting interactions earlier on coming in, and what happens is V5 doesn't actually get the initiation onto Karsa. Karsa walks out, comes back again, and even though Mole does find the kill through the Death Realm, once he pops out of it, there's 4 people right next to him. So a little bit unfortunate right there. A really good reaction by Karsa to avoid the initiation from V5.
We're back on to the Rift Herald, and this time V5 going to take this one out without any troubles, as every single TP was used, but they do give up that second mountain. We're going to have a 3rd one spawning as well, so both sides will want to go for that, but V5, they want gold, and they want gold now.
And so trying to trade back one of those towers. Sorry, I saw things wrong. I finally understood what happened on that Karsa initiation. He actually used the Glacial Prison on Y4 when he was already fate calling Max, so that's why the initiation didn't actually work out as intended. Very interesting right there. I didn't expect the Alistar to then just pop up right next to the Kalista after that.
And already a 4,500 gold lead for RNG. Doesn't feel like it if you look at everything else bar the gold, but the CS lead, the pure power that they have on this Irelia right now is just insane, and you've got to try, like, you know, if you're Victory 5, you did what you needed to do, sort of. You took down the Mordekaiser. 0-3 hasn't really taken off. Uzi not doing a huge amount in terms of, like, you know, advantages, but Xiaohu's just too big.
Xiaohu's just insane, and he's playing in the top lane, a lane that he does not usually go to. Coming in with the press the attack as well. I felt like this was great. Counter cheese on top of counter cheese. Like, RNG read V5, read their lane assignments, and just was more prepared in the lane for it. This is something that V5, I feel like, actually constantly faces when they're swapping around Mole and Windy, is that neither one of them is really an excellent top laner on their own. Like, they are not that used to the lane. A lot of times it does happen where they have to dig themselves out of holes coming from the top side. They need to find those roams and initiations, and someone has found Mole.
Oh, that's a nice little knockback and stun using the supreme display of talent, but talent will only get you so far in this world, Mole. As he's going to be chased down by Karsa and Xiaohu. Try and just get away, but the amount of single target CC they have with that combination of the Irelia Sejuani is just too much.
I really want to see how many kills Xiaohu's going to get before they shut him down.
Oh my god, look at the amount of gold he got purely from plates.
It's almost a free Tiamat there.
Literally, like, you got half an item just purely from having dominant laning phase.
This is getting from bad to worse, and I like how V5 are dealing with this situation. They realize that as the game goes on, it's not going to get better for them, so they're grouping up and forcing RNG into an initiation. Very risky move, but one of their only chances to actually use a fight and out-mechanic RNG to hopefully get back.
Out-mechanic RNG is something you never want to have to say as, like, your one win condition. It's just like, all right, we don't win late, so we have to just be better than them. Damn it. It's not a fun time for anybody, except for RNG. They love it.
The V5 are audacious, and it's what made them so successful this split. Remember, they did have a win against Invictus Gaming where they just constantly dueled them until IG was actually outpaced out of the game. So they're back to their game plan. This is exactly who V5 are. Yes, they do die more than they get kills, but you also have to think about them as a 500 team standing in the middle of the pack. So it has been working for them.
But the question kind of comes for V5 right now is, who do you even look for? Who do you even try and take down? Like, the Irelia has got the Sterex. You know, if you look at the Sejuani, super tanky. Mordekaiser can just ult and keep her away. As I say that, they're going straight in onto the Sejuani, but here comes the rest of RNG. There is the grand entrance from the Galio as well. Windy trying to just flash away. They're trying to jump back on top of this. There's Kiana as well. They're able to get a lot of damage onto Ming. He's forced to flash away. Alistar goes back in on top of this. Max, though, that's not where you want to be. He flashes away. They're going to try and get flash in. There it is. There is the ult. Not quite able to hit him up there. They end up trading 2 for 1. As Kiana just overstepped her mark, but here comes Mordekaiser. Gonna jump in on top of this as he sees he tries to get something. There's a Death Realm. Ben 4 has nowhere to go. They're just saying, buddy, we can find you, we swear. Turret still hitting onto Langji, and he will eventually go down. So it ends up being a 3 for 2 trade overall, but priority in mid goes over to RNG.
RNG knew exactly their win condition. They were taking a 4v5 in that brush, so all they needed to do was delay V5 as far as possible, and look at what Longxing did. He actually fully bounced the top wave before coming in and getting another kill. So big win for RNG. V5 continued to try, but just like you were saying, there really aren't any good targets to focus down at this point. Karsa is so tanky. Look at him taking the entire initiation and then still staying above full health. When Kiana comes in, no one's actually standing close enough for around the terrain for her to find a kill. And then RNG realized that Karsa trading kills here is actually a good thing because they deny a lot of minions in the top side while doing it.
Bad guy Ben 4 not blocking that Mystic shot to keep Kiana alive was a little sad, man, but actually, we're going to have to look at the live there in the middle corner. We're going to leave the sleep right there because the TP has already been used as everyone seems to be setting up. Both teams want this double Mountain Drake as we go in there. Engage comes in. It's going to be support. But why would you knock Ming into your team? Why would you do that? The Fate's call is literally just to buy time as of this moment, but a massive misstep from Victory 5 gifts RNG a team fight.
I think he needs to apologize to Mole at this point.
He needs to apologize to us.
he didn't use the flash. He never expected Mad Max to be there just punting the taunt, the AoE straight onto their backline. Very unfortunate for V5, and the thing was that they were standing on a ward when they want to go for that engage. So when the Alistar went over the wall, he was the one that actually got popped up. It wasn't the Galio that was surprised.
And even then, like, it's just, I want to see that replay because I just want to know what goes through your mind as the Alistar and just be all like, yeah, oh, actually, we're going to have to pause that for a second. Xiaohu getting chased down a little bit. Flawless Duet Part 1. Flawless Duet Part 2 lands. They're trying to catch up on top of him. They will be able to knock him a little bit down, but the side of V5 are having
1v4?
a lot of trouble trying to take down this guy. They will potentially have to get it. White4 can't even go near him. He's so afraid. Now he goes in. It ends up being a shutdown over to Windy. Probably the one who needed the gold the most. But that was a lot of resources. Had RNG not reset, we would have been able to get a little bit more. But this is just slow motion, please.
Oh, God. This is so sad. He gets the double AoE taunt and then the CC chain into Longxing's Death Grasp. I just feel bad for Mole and Ben 4 in that one. Not much you could do. Mad Max does pay for it with his life there as well. And after that, at least they get the 5v1 kill against Xiaohu. That was the sole respite that V5 had after that one.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But we're coming up to 21 minutes in this game, mid to late. I have no idea what any of that says, and it's an 8,000, 8,500 gold lead now for RNG. They're really looking strong. I think Xiaohu like literally has only died once in that last little bit of a play, and Baron is very much on the cards. And there's just not a lot of options for V5 right now. RNG can pick split push, team fight, Baron play. It's all open for them.
This is what happens when you have an early mid-game composition. You try for a lot of early skirmishes, but they all backfire horribly. I think V5,
to put it lightly.
Yes, V5 really got outplayed mechanically in a lot of these engagements, and also just outvisioned as well. RNG in the previous fight perfectly understood where Max was coming from. So V5, if they want to do something like this, they at least need to set up a blind spot. This is great from Ben 4 that he's clearing out this ward, but look at the backside. There's so many other wards that RNG has along the way. to have a early warning system, and now they're trying to cut off V5 from defending their inhibitor.
Yeah, I was going to say, is like RNG have the inside track. You can't go anywhere. They're going to lose an inhibitor turret off of that back of kind of the decision to not decide what to do. Indecision itself is a decision, and that's just going to be RNG picking up more free gold and more free pressure and more free objectives, and you can see them pinging out now around that dragon, or that Baron I should say. They're going to push in mid and then just look to clear the vision.
And this is setting up to be a very straightforward Baron play for RNG. Double Mountain already. We're past the 20-minute mark. And once they clear this side of the jungle, I don't see why not. They shouldn't just start for it. This is... They're very far ahead, and I think Mordekaiser, we've seen this multiple times now, Mordekaiser over the wall, he can just pull your jungler into the death realm, and that's 7 seconds where he can't smite. So very easy to secure if you do that. We've actually seen RNG purposefully set up for this play and just use the Mordekaiser as a hold-off.
Uh-oh.
But Uzi?
Uh-oh. Y4 has nowhere to go. They will get a good ultimate there from the Kiana, but there's just not enough damage. And Xiaohu, 8-1 and 6, is going to tear through Victory 5. That's going to... Victory 5 feels like a long way away. They're 4-4 right now. They're still waiting on that 5th victory, but RNG, this is looking primo RNG, prime RNG. The RNG we're used to calling the kings of China, because these guys are just looking so good.
I guess the death realm wasn't necessary at all. Xiaohu just comes in from a flank, great control ward positioning, knows that he isn't spotted, and also I thought Kiana had a good sense of where Uzi was, but Uzi also had a good sense of where Mole was. That ward over the Raptor pit completely dooming Kiana from getting an initiation, getting the drop onto Uzi. And once again, RNG just have better vision. V5 need to be more diligent in sweeping this out. Look at this Raptor ward. Kiana's scanner just ends there. So Uzi actually dips out of vision. They find the kill onto Y4, and when he comes in, there's multiple members waiting for him. Mole gets tagged up by the Galio, followed up on, and there's just no hope for V5.
It's getting a bit sad, all right, as the rest of his team just kind of look on and kind of go, what can we do right now? And I want to bring back a little bit of a point as well. We saw Y4 versus Uzi would be kind of like the match to look at right now, and Uzi proving why he was the #1 AD carry when they played on the same team. 5-0-6, a full item and a half ahead of the Kalista. And it's just looking from bad to worse right now. They're going to be able to put in so much damage onto the two tankiest members of the side of Victory 5. And it's just a matter of time, I feel, until RNG take this game.
It should be this way. Mole has to do some miraculous team fighting to get them out of this situation.
Uzi wants him. Uzi wanted that blood so badly. He was like, come here. Don't you dare try and disrespect me. I am the AD carry, but oh, that kind of sums up this game from Victory 5 realistically. Just a little on top of the thing there. It puts him into the death realm. That's going to be another kill. 21-6. Just every objective you can imagine. And everything goes over to RNG as they pick up Game 1 of this best-of-3 series.
Smooth sailing coming in from RNG in their home arena. 25-minute game, never in a deficit. And it all really started from Xiaohu playing in the top side, a lane that you don't usually find the Spring Tiger in, but he dominates that lane quite easily. Was press the attack Irelia. Smart thinking there, gets early trades in, completely decimates Winnie in lane, and Karsa's there to follow up on the snowballing potential. This is giving RNG a lot more ways to play the game. I'm very surprised that they were the one to actually swap the Mordekaiser mid. That's the first mid Mordekaiser we've seen in the LPL. Really risky because he's easy to gank, but if you have one point on the map that's snowballing that hard, I guess it doesn't matter.
It really doesn't, but like look at the amount of damage as well that was put down there by Xiaohu and Uzi, and it's just, what do you do? Like, back to the drawing board, I guess, and I guess we know why Irelia is banned against RNG right now.
It's also heavily banned against V5 as well, interestingly enough, even though they actually haven't played it. So I do see that both of these teams understand each other's champion pools quite well. At the start of the live shots, we actually saw Amazing J talking to Mole in their own scrim room, which I found really hilarious. Even though they're playing against RNG today, the two former BLG members still able to just come in and have a chat. So it does feel like RNG crafted this draft quite well. They took away a lot of the big guns from V5, and And they had that great swap early on to just confuse V5, take them out of their game. And it paid off completely. I was just kind of baffled that that was a risk that they were willing to take, but I guess they understood how much damage Xiaohu could do in the top side.
Are we getting excited for RNG?
I'm getting
We a little bit? Just a little bit?
Okay. Still, look, I set everything up in week 1 earlier when we knew that Longxing was coming on the roster, and I said I wouldn't be excited for RNG until I saw Longxing carry. Until I saw them throw resources and carry game.
But when Xiaohu plays that well...
Well, technically it is the top side, so maybe I should get excited.
Yeah,
Technically top.
Technically, we got the top side, you know? And, you know, like, I think, you know, if you're looking for, like, MVPs of that game, I think it's if it's anyone but Xiaohu, I'm going to be upset. You know, like, it's going to, like, the guy danced around the Aatrox. Windy had no opportunities. Now, fair enough, Victory 5 didn't exactly do anything for him, but he just got outplayed.
Yeah, it was very heartbreaking to see that matchup, and not much that they could do. This is something about RNG that I feel a lot of teams don't deal with well. They think about the big team fights, and that's what they're thinking in their minds when they're trying to defeat RNG. But RNG also punish the lanes very well. When there's a snowball, they will continue to keep that snowball going. And if you look at how Xiaohu played the early laning phase, it was an absolute masterclass. Early level 1, all-in trade, get press the attack, surprise the opponent, force him out of lane, get the wave to bounce back. You have a gank coming in, and then followed up by another freeze, and it was a 30 CS lead by 5 minutes in.
Yeah,
and you're just like...
What can you do? Just played it to perfection in that particular lane, but we're going to throw it to a quick break. When we return, we will have Game 2 of Victory 5 versus RNG.
Be able to give the players credit. We'll have to see what Cube can do. There's a lot of members here. Dodge is out from, of course, the Stun Abduct. He actually has a lot of sustain here going into his ultimate. Ming is the one in trouble, while Vici Gaming are completely out. This is going to be a 2v1. This is going to be a 2v1. Oh. Stop fighting Cube.
Get the auto.
Oh my god, at least run from it. That's the first kill. And Cube is going to let you go. Now essentially untraded because the next dragon is going to be a Cloud. Victory 5 now just has that soul. Oh no, wait a second.
Looking for another solo killer. Scout ignites down underneath the turret. The Starburst comes through once again. The Scout
wait a
back
minute.
in. He's willing to die.
You're dead anyway, son.
Yeah.
Wait. No, he's good.
He jumps out. Never mind, Raz. What were you saying? Yeah, what were you saying? We look at the bottom lane, and FBX are getting down and dirty again.
Oh boy, as soon as that was instigated, top bot lane wanted to fight, got a kill as well.
Oh my god, Nick flashes over! Ragnarok, yeah! Destroys one, FBX under trouble as well. And this for Chris is a 1 versus 3. He gets a great finding, but Baolan devours. Ming back in action, he's not tanking, it's Baolan. Double kill, 5-1 Viking.
Perfect, because there are 2 wards and both of them are denied away by the control ward. Now I do know.
Double mountain, it's going down quick, but like I said, it's not as quick as some. Weaver's wall is in, the Hema plague from the Shy. Half health them, seismic shove, the Wombanation is there. They find 1, 2, the Shy cleans up the other. That was an IG fight if I've ever seen it. FBX just came at them for dinner. Just get obliterated, they almost die.
Zoning ultimate, they go back to base and they give up 2 in hits.
I mean, ego ultimate, that just sets them right back.
Damn, that was nearly 100-0 from the Shy himself, and I don't think he's done.
I mean, Gumi wants to take the engagement, but he misses. The cannon barrage comes down to him. It's running into the fight. That Give Good front line, seismic shove is flashed away from the Pirate, but the Shy hits him. That's all he has to do. This is Vladimir sucking your blood. FBX are routed, destroyed, and Invictus Gaming are right back on top.